Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for joining me for another question and answer time on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and like this and share it with anyone that you feel like would resonate. And just feel free to go to my website, which is themodernshaman.net, if you'd like to know more about me or what I do and the classes that I teach or sessions that I hold. That's all available on the website, again, at themodernshaman.net. Okay, so I'm going to dive into the question for today. She says, "Hi Rachel, thank you so much for your channel. I can't wait to take your workshops." Oh, that's right, you're signed up. There's a lot of people signing up for the workshops that are coming up in the fall. I have another kind of round. It's a 3-month course of kind of deep, intensive weekend workshops. So if you're interested in truly kind of diving into your psychic gifts, this is the way to go. And again, anyways, that's awesome. That's awesome that you're going to be with us. So she said, "My question is about my son. He is very empathic and I don't always know how to help and support him as a mom. Sometimes he feels overwhelmed by other people's energy. Do you have any advice that's specific for empathic kids or for us parents and how to help them? Thanks so much." Awesome question. I do have some videos that are out there on the channel about empaths, so I'll try to focus this one in particular on those that kind of from the parent perspective that's a little different, or maybe a twist on the empathic experience for those of us that are familiar. If you're not familiar with that word, essentially empathic is a psychic sense of clairsentience. Now, clairsentience is one of the psychic senses, and it's essentially the ability to translate or communicate with non-physical energy through energetic absorption. So energy to energy, it's communication that happens through the sensations of the body, through the emotional form, through the tactile form. It includes a wide range of communication from non-physical based on energy. Now, empaths are in the vein or the channel of clairsentience that are particularly susceptible to emotional energy. So they are able to read and translate emotional energy of the non-physical realm as well as the physical realm. So when we are communicating with an empath, they're hearing what we're saying and they're feeling what we're feeling. They're feeling what we're thinking. They're feeling all of our emotional energy as well. And it can be a tricky experience, a very multidimensional experience. I love that you're asking this as a mom, because I feel like so many kids that have been labeled in the psychiatric community as bipolar or ADHD or all of these other kind of emotional labels within our psychiatric system, a lot of times these are just empathic children, multidimensional children. And they are receiving so much information on so many different levels that we're not aware of. And so instead of going the traditional route of pharmaceuticals, I love that you're asking this question and getting very conscious about how to support them through this journey, because it's a whole different experience. They're literally like a little superhero. That's the first thing I would say in terms of advice, is to not project onto their experience a negative story. Instead, to align, and there's so much out there now of these superhero movies and Marvel, and they're so good at really personifying the everyday life of a superhero that they are just real people. And this is so much of an empathic experience, or anyone with psychic senses that are activated. And so many of our kids coming in nowadays are very highly multidimensional and expressing and experiencing communication on all these different levels. at the same time. So I would express to them, first of all, kind of the awareness that they are empathic. If they don't know that term, or if they don't know what that means, that it is a psychic sense, that it is a gift of ability to translate, not unlike a human lie detector, right? That they are literally picking up on what is not being said, but what is being felt, what is being communicated in the energy between beings. And they are absorbing it like a sponge. And so just like we absorb when someone's speaking to us, we're bringing in, using a lot of our senses at the same time. We're seeing them talk and using gestures. We're hearing the tonation and the intonation in their voice and the way that they're expressing themselves. So we're receiving all of this information. Empaths are also receiving on an emotional level what's being communicated or what's being hidden all too often. And so just making them conscious that that is what's going on, that's incredibly helpful to those that have psychic gifts, that are multidimensional experiencers. Just to know you're not crazy. This is something that you are processing that's beyond what most people are processing. It is a superhero power. Just like being able to have X-ray vision, you've got X-ray emotional vision. And you're picking up on all the emotional energy that's being communicated or being hidden. Can't hide it from an empath. They're receiving it. So I think that's the first thing I would say in terms of advice, is giving them a positive story that they can align with if they choose. They may not choose to align with it sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it's not a positive experience, and that's okay. But having that option of looking at themselves like a superhero. And I'm speaking from experience, all right? My 9-year-old is highly empathic. And I've been through this journey and always going through this. Sorry, I dropped your question. I dropped it on the floor. Should probably edit that out, but I may not. But anyways, I've been through this journey and I'm constantly going through this journey with him. So these are personal things that we've talked about. And especially when he feels particularly overwhelmed by the emotional experience, then I talk about it as a gift. And a lot of empaths are very, very attuned healers. This is a psychic gift that, when developed, makes you an incredibly precise, energetic healer. And I do believe that I'm seeing a lot of these people come onto the planet because we're doing so much energetic healing of the planet, of the people. And so I know with my middle child, when I talk about it in terms of his gift and being able to heal and transmute the energy that he's receiving when it doesn't feel so positive, he aligns more with the strength of power and sovereignty and confidence in who he is, instead of it being a curse or something like, oh, I wish I didn't have this. Instead, it's something special that he has, that he's able to use to help others. Okay. Another biggie, and this is with all empaths, whether you're an adult or a child, but teaching this to a child when he's young, or he or she or whoever is young, is so beneficial because they get it, and it will become a practice that they'll regularly do when they feel overwhelmed by energy, when they're angry, or when it's too much. Have them sit for a second and ask themselves, is this energy mine or someone else's? And then draw the line, just like we do connect the dots. That's what I told my son. Connect the dot. Where did that energy come from? When did you first start feeling angry? And they're able to pinpoint that it's not actually their energy. Instead, they've absorbed it from their mom, or they've absorbed it from their father, or they've absorbed it from a classmate or a friend, or someone walking at the supermarket where they saw yelling at their kid, and then suddenly they come in and they want to yell at their brother, or they want to yell at their sister. This practice, it is a practice. Like, it takes time, and you have to be patient with it as a parent, because when they're blowing up and they're overwhelmed, typically this is the way with my son. He'll be really frustrated and he'll be really angry and just be like, it doesn't matter what's going on, he's angry about it. And that was, at least for me, like the little ding ding bell that went off as a mom, like something's going on. So then I would say, okay, is this your energy or is this someone else's? Let's find out where this came from. Connect the dots back to where you first started feeling this energy. And sometimes it is, mom was frustrated, mom was overwhelmed. I heard her on the phone having a conversation with somebody and being all angry. And then it is so helpful for them to realize this is actually not me and my own energy. This is me absorbing the energy of those around me, okay? Once they've done that and have a sense of awareness or cognizance about it, then at least for my child, the practice that we do, we address it, we count the dot back to where it began, and then we get it out of his body, because by that time he's already absorbed it, okay? So it's already in his energetic field. And for him, and it's different for every person, we find out where it's stored. Typically it's in his chest. He gets heated right here and real huffy puffy when he's angry, like, okay? And if this is you, then this is where you're storing the energy of it. It's literally like been transmuted and absorbed like a sponge right into the heart chakra, or right into the chest. A lot of empaths are very dominant with their heart chakra as their dominant energetic center. Some is the mind, and this is when kids will kind of go like this if they're processing it, the trauma or the energy in the mind, or they'll want to kind of hit and things like this in the head. Then they're processing the energy here. Then we do a few like taps, or sometimes we do the King Kong thing like this, where we hit the energy to basically kind of break it up, okay, loosen it up, just like you're loosening a dirt clod or something like this. We shake up the energy a little bit, and then we do an exhale out. So we kind of loosen it up, and then kind of like a huffy breath, okay? Intuitively, kids will do this. They'll huff and puff when they're trying to get energy out of the chest. It's stored there. Frustration in the chest, anger in the chest, all of this. But this is a very direct and cognizant process. So they're taking ownership of their own emotional stability, of their own emotional release, and then it feels like it's out. They're aware, I just pushed that out of me. So it's similar, and at the beginning I used to do a lot more detailed visuals, like see it like smoke coming out, like a dragon smoke, or see it like a mist coming out, and you can do that. But even just the simple, like, okay, break it up, push it out, get it out of you, okay, it's gone. Now, when the energy, that's a practice we move through. So when he's all fiery, we ask the question, is this my energy or is it someone else's? Can I draw the dots to where it started? Then can I get it out of my body? Out, okay? And a lot of times when I first started doing this with him, I would do it in the bathroom, or I would move him to a separate space. Space is huge for empaths. Huge, because they are processing all of the energy in the space around them. And that includes physical and non-physical, okay? So there's a lot of stuff going on in the non-physical realm at the same time that they're also processing. Energies in the house, energies in the supermarkets, or wherever we are, the land that we're on, depending on how sensitive they are. So moving into a particular space, or if they have their own room, fantastic. Go into that space, their little sacred space, whether it's the bathroom or wherever. Have a sense of coming back, getting that energy out, coming back into their own sense of alignment, their own sense of happy. And actually, empaths are also really great at shifting the energy, transmuting it like that. I mean, my son can go from 10 to 0, like he's at a high 10, angry, gonna flip his lid, to like totally even killed, happy, super joyous, back to himself in like 2 seconds. He can, and fully be, like, he's not faking it. I mean, he is fully in alignment, you know what I mean? So they can find that place of sync pretty quickly. Once they practice how to do that for themselves, they will have it their entire life. So this is huge, all right? Okay, let me think of another thing I want to say about it. I did a lot of, when I when I first was helping my son with this empathic experience, we talked a lot about the imagery of like picking up germs, right? Because kids are told that when they're young, like, you know, you wash your hands because you may pick up germs from touching doorknobs or being out and about, or people coughing and then shaking your hand. And we're okay with picking up those kind of germs, but I used to compare that to like the emotional germs. Anything you don't want to take in, we need to make sure that you cleanse your body of it. So we had regular types of clearings that were effective for him that we would do. And some of those were like the breathing. Also, water is a big one to cleanse. So we would wash the hands and have that sense of symbolism of like, I'm clearing off the emotional germs just as much as I'm clearing off any of the physical germs from being out and about, if they're very sensitive to being out in public or crowds or things like this, and energy that feels too overwhelming. And then also, once they get how much they're affected by the environment and the energy of others, really driving in the importance of choosing the right friends. This is huge for as they grow because they know they're absorbing the energy, because they're absorbing yours as their parent and those that are also in the family with you, whether they have siblings and all things like that live with them. So the influence of their peer group is huge, and telling them there is a level of wisdom that comes with this gift, this superhero power of realizing that if you hang around people that are in any sort of dense or dark or heavy or traumatic energy, you're going to absorb it, okay? They get that. I mean, it's not just falling on deaf ears with an empathic child. When you say like, pick good friends, it's not, it's like, this is what you're gonna be. You're gonna be soaking it in. And they totally get that. So it's huge with them of helping find a supportive peer group that feels like they're not always engaging in drama. They're not always engaging in trauma. And they're able to step out of that environment when that happens. So oftentimes we talk about, if there's an energy that you realize, oop, I'm starting to pick up these germs. I don't want these germs. Somebody gets in a fight, your friends get in a fight at school, or they're talking bad about somebody, or they're complaining, or whatever. As an empath, a lot of times they're also healers, so they want to help. But to be conscious of their own energy, and this is a practice, of when it's too much, they need to literally remove themselves, walk away. And a lot of times I'll just say, just go to the bathroom. Excuse yourself to go to the bathroom. Because they need to get out of the physical environment of absorption. Okay, just like germs. You need to get out of if someone's sitting there coughing, you know, and hacking, we step away, right? We don't want them to sneeze on us. So it's the same kind of thing that they have to be conscious of. And you can use that metaphor, that that's exactly how it is for them emotionally, that they're going to be absorbing that. So when somebody starts getting in a fight or starts getting heated or complaining, or they've had a really tough time, you can be caring for them, but step away for a second to the bathroom, wash your hands, have a conscious sense of, I'm clearing myself of this energy that I may have just absorbed, that energetic germ, all right? And then move in. And these are just practices. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't be friends with those people. It's just that they're wise about it now. They're self-aware. Know thyself. And this is a huge thing with empaths, because they have to be able to separate what is theirs and what is mine. Okay, and it's a practice, like I said. So I think it's awesome, you know, as a parent, that you're supportive and really stepping in there. I would say too, if they're little, animals are great equalizers for kids like this. Animals, and then the water. For some reason, the elemental of water is very healing and very cleansing. So baths and swimming and being around a sense of clearing from water is very helpful. And nature as well. It's also a great balancer emotionally to be outside in nature for these types of kiddos. I think it's awesome as a parent that you're seeking just to love and support. And I think that's a big one too, that they just know that they can come to you and it's okay if they're emotional, that you're not going to be mad at them for being emotional. This is part of their superpower and they have to learn how to utilize it and use it and stand strong and sovereign with it. So it's a beautiful thing. Love you guys. Stay tuned and we will be back next week with another video. Blessings.